Jumbo Africa. I can see there's someone who's not catching it yet. Jumbo Africa, eh? Yeah, well, welcome to the 4th edition of African Football Connect. This time around, we're coming still here from the Calabash FNB Stadium. Inside this time around, you don't see the big Calabash in the background. And obviously, as you can see, we've gone to the international break and made some few substitutions. And we've got a guest today. We're going to talk proper international football today when we look back on what has been happening on the continent. We've got right here our tactical, not tactical analyst, but our technical mentor. Well, he's the Kaizer Chiefs. Are you a Kaizer Chiefs former player or Kaizer Chiefs legend?
Alumni.
Yeah, Kelvin Sosibo. And on the far right, coming from the blue corner, we've got Lawrence Kola from iDiski Times. We know him. The continent know him. And Lawrence, we are honored to have you here today.
Yeah, Bra Kelvin said I must whoop in a few crosses today. So, it's going to be interesting discussion. There's a lot to talk about. I was invited to so many podcasts this week because there is so much to talk about internationally. Obviously,
yes.
Champions League coming up this week, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no. Today I felt like, no. I'm going to strong arm you to come here, and because there's just a lot to talk about, not only for South African football, but also on the continent, and also in terms of just the results that have been there as well. But I'm first interested in to just look at have your impressions of Bafana Bafana in this past 7 to 8 days, starting obviously with the results. 6 out of 6, that's what the coach said, Lawrence, initially when you guys attended the press conference when he announced the squad. What's your impression?
Yeah, I think coach is almost like in a cruise control vibe. Like he's trusting his squad now. He understands why players are selected, and we always talk about this the structure of, one player in, one player out. It's not like, this one's doing well and he's a different technical profile, I'm going to consider him. It's none of that, you know what I mean? And when there's a new guy in form, we might make noise. Yeah, this one must be... No, Persita is coming back because I need my Grotman in the team, you know what I mean? So he trusts his players now, and the confidence that he gives the players and us as media when he says, we're going to beat Lesotho and we're going to beat Benin. We even watch the football with a different set of eyes. Usually we're like, what's going to happen today, And I think this has been since, I think that turning point for us was probably that Cote d'Ivoire game before the AFCON draw. We're like, this Bafana is different now. This Bafana is...
When we attended the draw.
Yes. We're like, there's never been a game now, okay, bar maybe the France and we got hammered and whatever. But I'd like to see us get France again now. Well, that's another discussion. But there's never been a game now, or maybe the past 2.5, maybe even 3 years, that we feel, we outplayed out of this game. Even the AFCON semi-final against Nigeria. It was this close. So I think we're in a very good moment. We understand what we are as a team. The players understand their roles. And obviously it's great to have that 6 points as well from Lesotho and Benin. Clean sheets. You love to bring that up as well.
Clean sheets. Clean sheets are important, especially when we talk about this particular competition, where we're talking about goal difference. And it's not the away goal rule, as you would say with Kev, and we'll talk rules later on. And then you'll understand why these things are important, and also distinguishing between these competitions as well. So from a tactical point of view, looking firstly against Lesotho, we exhausted the issue of the low block, and I'm glad that it came out, and I'm glad that you went thorough in terms of explaining this low block thing and how to counter it. And I'm sure you would have also enjoyed to see Lesotho, the tactical discipline they also showed in the first half, but also how Bafana Bafana tweaked it in the second half.
Well, we rightfully so pointed out on Lesotho's application, and I did make mention of that. It's going to be the easiest way of playing against them because there are disadvantages on playing low block, which is conceding a lot of set pieces or fouls, and also you're giving away spaces on wide areas, and which is how Bafana set up. They made sure that they had speed in order to overload those areas. So when you saw Lesotho, they had 2 banks of 4, and then they had 2 strikers up front who were pressing. So what they were trying to do is to narrow the spaces in the middle and also keep a compact back line. But again, when you're keeping a compact structure, it means that on the wider position it's going to be open. So then what then do? You make sure that you push your full backs up in order to stretch the back four, because now Lesotho, what they've done was they made sure that they're consecutive. They don't press you high up. There's no high press from them. They only press from the middle third. And what did was when Bafana started coming into their own half, that's only when they became aggressive. But when we are on their own half, when we are on our own half, we're passive. We're trying to build up and try to move them so then they can give out space. So we realized that you couldn't go through the heart. So what we did was we went around the structure, which is where we find joy. Looking at the goal that Rele scored. He scored on those moments where there was a quick switch of play because of the advantage that we have gained, which is the left back and the left wing, their wingers. They were too far apart, which allowed the 2v1 and the ball to be switched.
But what I also liked, because I listened to the coach, how he explained it in the post-match. I also listened to an interview I did with Percy as well. I think even Ronan spoke about it. And you look at Mokoena. And in this goal, yes, really did very well, scored his first international goal. But Mokoena, and I think in today's iDiski times, you've got him there, Lawrence. And just how he was moving around easily. And the guidance of Pesitau, the experience of Pesitau in that goal, because he points Mokoena as he's approaching with the ball to pass to Rile.
I think it's a very interesting thing of what he's saying because, like you said, it was packed in the middle. So Percy and Lyle were just keeping those guys busy, tiring them out, but they had no space. Jaden and Tebza, 2 very gifted players on the ball at all the time on the ball. There was no pressing them. So I did find that interesting how you explained that they had to go around. But Mokoena, individual brilliance. Like you can't really coach that. Many of the coaches that he has worked under says there's something special there. Sometimes we look at him and we're like, hey, there's something missing there, but what he gives you, you know, is I think trumps what he misses, because I mean he gets the ball on the line, he eliminates two players, another two players,
there's another 2 players,
and another 2 players coming in the area, and they're all sucked in. The defense is all sucked in. They're looking at Percy, they're looking at Lyle, and obviously he gets it to Rele, and the guy makes no mistake. But it's I don't know how to explain it. Even the Esperance coach was saying the same thing about Mokoena.
Maybe we can go to the tactical side of it. What made Mokoena to come up with that move? Firstly,
he runs with both feet. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Yes. So my identification.
But he was tagging the line there.
Yes. What you do as a winger, you give us width and depth. And depth. So what Mokoena did was he gave us width. So then what does that mean? It means when Mokoena sits on the line, he engages the defender and then open up the spaces for Dao. Should Dao then go further wider, then Mokoena has the space inside.
But also this explains what the coach was also saying, even his teammates, that don't come in too early. In the first half, delay.
Yes.
In the first half, they were coming in too early. And I saw even yesterday, in fact, in the second game, really, when he receives on the line.
Yes.
And another point I wanted to ask about Mokoena, Lawrence, is the move to Teraji. How has it helped him? Because if you look at the application, especially players who are playing in North Africa and the coaching in North Africa as well, because they are more on details and and you can see the profile of our talent that they are going for. They are going for those players who can easily move around and also eliminate players. But on his side, personally, how has his game developed?
I think the word you're looking for is difference makers in the team. You know, the impact. Yeah, you know, they've got all these big players, strong players, tactically strong players, and just throw in some shugela. You know, that's what they're looking for. But I think honestly, you know, he went into a team with Miguel Cardoso as head coach. No disrespect to obviously Sekhukhune and Platinum City Rovers, but these are this was a coach at the highest level. Obviously impressed so much that he was brought to Klorkop. But then when Miguel left, he was being coached under this Romanian guy. I can't really pronounce his name that well, but you guys can Google him. He just left now recently ahead of this game, but he's also a very high level.
He's the one who was fired after 2 draws.
Yeah, but there was internal politiki there that got him fired. Really.
As always.
Yeah, it was just maybe clash of personalities, and they said it's happened at previous clubs. But he was a very high level coach in Romania. He worked at Ngezana's team. He also coached Al Hilal, the Saudi Arabian giant. So that shows you his pedigree, where these money bags go for a guy like him. So it shows you what type of coaching he was exposed to, one. Two, there's somebody that's obviously knows him quite well in Tunisia that was telling me that he is eat, sleep, football, straight, since arriving at Esperance. So it's very similar to that mindset that you are the Shaluliles, you know. It's just, there's no time for anything else. And if you look at their scheduling, I can also understand why. When you are away from football, I go sleep. You go sleep, that's all he's doing. So obviously...
The language as well.
Exactly. There's no time to go to the cafe and enjoy your time off. So obviously playing at a higher level, league, in terms of the competitiveness. I'm not saying that they're better than the PSL, but it's a different type of football. Yes. So it's obviously improving him from strength-wise, from his decision-making. Playing in the Champions League also helps him. But you can just definitely see the Mokoena we saw in what I think was COSAFA Cup the first time we saw him maybe, to the Mokoena we see now. It's very different.
Yeah. Coach Sauce, I just want to move away from Mokoena, but before I move, I mean, as Lawrence puts it, we're talking about a player coming from Platinum City Rovers, then Sekhukhune, and you find that we're not talking about someone who's grown up in an academy from the GDL, but this also tells you that we've got a lot of talent like this.
Vuyo.
Litlapa.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
Newest caller.
Yeah, so this also tells you that in terms of the scouting element, with our teams and especially at that level, ABC Motsepe, I don't really want to talk about NFD because NFD is already professional level. But how you scout talent, especially in a league like ABC Motsepe, where you've got 144 teams where you can find talent.
Yeah, it's important. Those rough diamonds are there. I, for one, have been working with a team that was actually playing in the similar league. A lot of talent, a lot of raw talent that you can easily pick, which just need to be polished there and there. In terms of skill-wise, something that South Africans are born with is flair and the ability to move, the creative part. What we always fall short on is the decision-making, knowing our zones, what needs to be done where, the tactical element of it. But the principles of the game stays the same, is how you defend and how you attack. So as soon as players get taught on those, because my game only improved later on. All the other aspects I had, speed, agility, all of that I had, but where we normally fail when it comes to the West Africans, we might be not so gifted in height, but what we have is what West Africans don't have, which is where we excel the most. So now, going back into that, the part that needs to be trained more is the tactical element, is the decision making, and it's the knowing when, why, how, which is off the ball movement. So if you put that together, you can easily get an almost finished product into a South African player, same as like Brazilians, because that thing is within them. But when do you do it, how, why? Make it to be productive for us. It shouldn't work against us. So those leagues, if our true scouts don't actually always look at your GDL and whatnot and cast their nets far, they can pull out a pool of players that can actually help the Bafana Bafana. As I always say, national teams are helping national team to be better.
It's exposure at the end of the day.
100%.
Mokoena probably got spotted in a Nedbank Cup thing, if I'm not mistaken. That's a platform. Vuyo obviously goes from Mbekezeli to PSL. It's a platform to get into Bafana. Gabini gets taken out of DDC. If he wasn't taken out of DDC, would he be a 15 million signing?
You know, I was listening on talk about Gabini. I was listening to an interview on Radio 2000. I think where Coach Becker was describing how the team actually saw him, and I think there was this last-minute cross that he made, but I think the scouts of Molde were like, 90th minute, he's got a cross like that. Obviously, they had been watching him.
Oh no! You know what they're looking at there?
Yeah.
They're looking at the quality of action through 90 minutes. So can you keep that? Does he have the mentality of that? Because if it was any other player, he would have given up or he would have delivered maybe a poor cross. But still having the will and the energy in that. So having a player that will perform higher actions for 90 minutes, that's key.
It's very interesting that you bring that up because Siad Ramovic, who was the coach before, was always talking about having the intensity. And you guys know he chucked out a lot of players who couldn't run for 90 minutes, who couldn't do this action. He trained them to the ground from pre-season. So it's interesting to see how, with a high level of training, how players who were perceived as average players are starting to flourish. And that's probably a very eye-opening thing of the standard of coaching. If it improves, what's really possible. Ndamane, DDC, Sebelebele, DDC, Puso, DDC.
But it's about each team understanding its model. You're not going to be a Sundowns. Even now, going to the Club World Cup, getting 170 something million rands just for participating. But also, that's why now you must understand. That's why Sundowns. We'll touch on that just briefly. That's why Sundowns is spending a lot of money. A lot of money.
Know where you stand, But it's just interesting to wrap up. Like, we have a lot of talent here, and it's just exposure, good training, and the possibilities are endless. But I think hand in hand with Bafana doing well. We're turning the
under
corner.
17.
We're turning the corner. AFCON under 17, under 20 AFCON. The
Possible World Cups.
The continent is looking at us now. They're looking at the PSL, saying, "What are these guys doing here?" And they're only starting to look at us because we're doing well in the international space. Because I see it's dominated by PSL. So I'm sure you're going to see a couple of coaches, couple of agents offering their players to come here soon because they can clearly see, no, we're a respected league, high standard. Players are getting paid good, and I can't say the same across the continent right now.
On that note, I think I saw one of the previews to the stories that you guys are even doing at iDiski of Janet Raw. He talks about this, the profile or the type of players that are here in the PSL. So he says South African players, they are so good that they don't even need to go to Europe, and that's how good the league here is. And I look at someone like Rile yesterday, and just the way I had expected the coach maybe to go with Apollos, but he goes with Rile yesterday, and I think even the ability, even at Pirates, he started playing from the wing. Now he also plays more as a 10 at Pirates, but
it's an inverted winger now.
Inverted winger, and the way he was doing it. Yesterday for me, and even just the approach, because this is one game that I really feared in our remaining 5 games, because it's away. These cheaters have beaten Nigeria there. They even drew against them. They beat Rwanda. But just the approach yesterday, because around the 30th minute, I'm like, we're still going to them. I expected them to come at us.
No, it's interesting, which is Lorenzo touched on it when we're sitting there, and then he says to us that the coach now understands the landscape, how he applied himself. We need to take a look at in terms of the tactical approach. Mina, honestly speaking, watching from my angle and to how I saw Benin against Zimbabwe, I saw a very slow team on their defensive block, which is why they played a 4-1-4-1, which is to congest also the middle and have a screener sitting in front of them. But then what will that allow? It will forcefully force them to push up and press us higher because they want to retain the ball quicker. Also, using the fact that they are home, they want an early lead, so then they can protect their lead. But what would that do? It will leave spaces behind them. That's why we didn't build up so much. So on their counter press, we went on a bypass. Bypass by what? Trying to play the balls behind. And then we started wondering, what is the coach doing? But it was intentional because he knew. So the tactical application was just to ensure that when Benin was going to press higher up, then we will always find joy behind them. And also, the tactical change was also the wingers, the fullbacks were inverting. So then allowing the wingers to come short. So then to draw out their fullback so then we can have the space. Lorenzo touched on something and then he said, some people will say, Lyle, but Foster wasn't doing anything. He was doing a lot in terms of the movement because you could see that it was practice. When Lyle drops shorter, he brings a defender with, then we have spaces behind.
In fact, I think in the first half, one of our first real chances, he goes wide and then he comes back with the ball and there's a cross that he played for Tau, but I think there were two defenders on Tau there.
But then that informs in terms of when he drops shorter, Tau then realize the spaces that is open for him. So when he sits, Tau comes short.
People think they're robots. People think they don't get tired. These players don't get tired. Now, one guy pulled his hamstring because he's running after Lyle the whole time. You know what I mean? And you know the heat in West Africa. So like Tau and Foster is always busy. But the thing you did miss is the Mokoena thing. You know, he ran that left back finish. By the time Oswin and Jaden comes on, Jaden came for Tau. These guys were having a good meal.
In fact, this point that you've just mentioned, I remember when we were in Cote d'Ivoire, and the coach,
unbearable.
the coach talks about. You are just talking about the conditioning now. I mean, we are able to cope better. And also, I think that talks to the standards of having someone like Kopano there. And also even the specialization, the thorough preparation of the game.
And Bruce emphasizing, I'm not picking a player who's not match fit. Percy Tau's not getting 90 minutes not coming.
And if you look, Percy played almost 90 minutes first game. Yesterday, more than 70 minutes. You know. So
but that's periodization. That's an information of somebody that understands the science side, where you periodize. You start looking at the altitude also. You're seeing at players that are coming from a high altitude area. How would they cope compared to players that are coming from a lower altitude? So then how do you balance the two? How much minutes are you supposed to give somebody that is not match fit, but has the tactical IQ in terms of what we are trying to do?
Now you're bringing in another element of why there was really starting there. The coach talks about analysis. What would have the analyst done there thoroughly that ensured that they get the best against that team?
I think one he mentioned is having pace because they have a slow defense. I think 2, work rate and understanding the fixture. It's an away fixture against a physical team. We're not gonna go for Mokoena. We're gonna go for Mokoena because we need to keep it tight. You know, we need to have a guy that's gonna support. In defensive qualities as well, and always give the left back something to think about. Peg him back also a little bit. Where Mokoena can maybe potentially lose the ball.
And the tracking back.
The tracking back would be slower than Mokoena. So I think just understanding the fixture is like, okay, away. these are my go-to guys. And I said off camera, it was like pizza when he went away to Egypt or to Congo. There was no Matrapa at right back. It was Anele, who was defense first. If he goes forward, it's a luxury, but defense principles first. Matrapa in front of him to give him cover. So it's the off-the-ball thing, the off-the-ball battles that they need to win. And away from home, it's so critical.
Then also the planning, Tavecha, will not discount that from the analysis, which is what is done. I saw it. Maybe a lot of people didn't pick up. The free kick that was scored, they worked on it. The camera quickly went there to them. And then one of the players pointed, said, that's the moment that we were working on. Because they knew their defensive qualities in terms of clearance. Yes, they are big, but they're lazy. One thing about big players is they always trust their body but not their work rate. So with the shorter ones, we'll always overcompensate.
And I've always watched Jaden, even here.
Yeah, he's got a couple
when it comes to set plays.
He's got a couple in the Confederations Cup. I think I watched the game against Vita. Is it Vita in the group stages? I think it was AS Vita. No, it wasn't Vita. Maniema.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't Maniema Union. It was another Congolese side in the group stages.
In the group stages.
But they played at Loftus. Almost identical goal with the head as well. And that put them through. That put them through to obviously the business end of the competition. But yeah, guys, we're getting sidetracked here from all this very interesting things.
Yeah, no. Talking football, that is. But you know, I can see the time is also pressing. But before we go to the Tebza, we cannot just move, guys, because Coach Hugo, 18 matches unbeaten now? And I think globally, Bafana Bafana is leading now in terms of the longest unbeaten run.
It could even be higher. I think it was... there was a game that they're counting as a defeat that was maybe the penalties.
No. Yeah, no. I think I was counting from Namibia. I'm counting from Namibia.
I think the last defeat is Mali.
Yes.
The first game of AFCON.
23 unbeaten.
It could
not
be
18.
No, look here. I think there's Chan. Okay, but irrespective, the last defeat was Mali.
Yeah, was Mali. Still 18 is decent because it's the longest unbeaten run. You know, and you know what? In just 2 months' time, in fact, less than a month's time from now, almost a month's time from now, he is going to be the longest Bafana Bafana coach, longest serving Bafana Bafana coach ever. For 4 full years. I think he could be even now, but I'm not really accurate with. But I think I'm just waiting for May. When May comes, he finishes his 4 years. He becomes the longest serving Bafana Bafana coach.
With productive
results. Can you give him his flowers?
Yeah, with productive results.
Let's clap hands for him.
I think even the most optimistic Bafana fan, you can't tell me you thought this was gonna happen.
No, when he was appointed. I will tell you because.
You spoke to your Cameroonian friends, I know,
yes,
but this
and
longer
also,
serving.
And also the first time, because this is not the first time. Even the first time when he was interviewed, okay, maybe there was a lot of heavy renat, but I caught the wind that he was the front runner when there were interviews, and then I was like, that's the man.
But where we were,
yeah, and there was a strong element of Benny. I was not really opposed to Benny coming, but I felt, this guy, because what he did in Cameroon, when you look at it, when he didn't have those stars,
he threw them away.
Exactly, and then I also got the intel from the guys there in terms of. And Lawrence will tell you, when we're in Cote d'Ivoire.
They were crying.
Yeah.
We missed this guy.
These guys, I think they even left their team.
Yeah.
I think their team was still playing or something. They came
to Bafana.
To Bafana. To watch him and even meet him. I think we even took a picture of him with them. So, you know, the other day, we were doing a Sapphire TV interview in his office here at Sapphire House. And I asked him, Coach, what did you really do to our players? just make me understand what did you really do. I see the results, I see everything, but just in terms of the mentality and everything. And he says, in the first training session, some players were just lazing around. And then he said, stop this thing. And Ronan was also telling me about it this weekend. He said, stop this thing. We are here to work. If you think you are coming here on holiday in the national team, then you will not see this national team again. And I remember Bafana Bafana camps. Some of them, they used to be like that. Yeah. Guys, you would see them when you visit
Body
their
language.
clubs. They are more serious at their clubs.
Body language.
The body language.
Chilling at the pool.
But what you say, Tavecha, is sometimes when you look at the national teams and how players used to behave before, it's through the results that you've been getting and how the fans have actually been on their back. And then somebody came and instilled belief and told them, if you want to do it, he's got the blueprint. This is the blueprint. This is how I've done it. And it's somebody that is respected and that has been on the African landscape, which is he will understand the mentality of those players. For a coach, it takes you about 2 minutes to tell you this guy is going to be a problem. This one is going to be a problem. Yes, you guys like him, but I'm telling you now, he's going to be a problem.
And he's that kind of a coach. And what I think, Lawrence, also the difference here is that he is not that kind of a coach only to the players, but also to his bosses. If he says it's green, it's green.
Yeah. Even with the media. If the guy's asking him a stupid question, he's like, hey man, what? I'm done. No more of this. He's very... His Madala is straight.
Yes. And he's got that style of his,
Yeah, it's firm.
Even in the press conference, the first 5-6 minutes, everything comes prepared.
And
then they're like, I don't know. Like, sometimes when he started to like, even if the presser can finish, and he knows the points are like, no. And it's got good sound bites. It's got good sound bites. But there's an element as we move to the next point. Ish, guys, Lorenzo, you have a problem. You are chowing our time. As a player, what goes into your mind? There's this Teboho Mokoena debacle the whole day, the issue of Teboho Mokoena, but the team then goes and performs like that. Psychologically, it doesn't work on you, or it also depends on, as we are saying now, the type of a head coach that you have and how they work around this.
I think the coach spoke to the players, and then he said to them, what you guys got to do, you got to do the business for the day and stop worrying about things that you are not in control of. Leave the office matters for the office. Our job today is to get 3 points and then take each and every game as it comes. Yes, psychologically, it will affect you. And what's the disadvantage in this is that footballers are on the media circles, so they're in touch with what's going on.
They probably were scrolling through
That's already distraction. But now, I can assure you that in that camp, there's a psychologist that took those guys for a session and said, guys, whatever that you guys saw, we still have the business for the day. Let's complete the business of the day and then we can wait. Because should those players would have been distracted, it would have actually worked against us. We'd have actually went for a draw. Yes, someone that was watching would say...
Anxiety would have been higher.
Yeah.
Now you from a potential 5-point gap to two point, you know what I mean? And if it wasn't a must win now, guys.
Or you're even more driven to win now. Because I'm thinking,
So it's like making a mistake and trying to cover up. So making a mistake and trying to cover up, it's win at all costs. But as we're cruising, the way we're cruising, because this would have gave us complacency. Would have actually relaxed and said, no, we can take a draw here because since it's a strong opposition and so on, they're playing at home, they haven't lost, they only lost. All of that, they will start working on your head. But however, if now you know you're sitting on a deficit because you do not know what the outcomes are, get your points, then we discuss later. So going to your question is, as a player and playing for a national team, I do believe that there's different characters and people take information differently and they process it differently also. But it's the duty of the technical team to come together and then start addressing the team what's going on. It with working with Madala, I'm sure there's a lot of transparency there. Guys, you know what's going on. But let's move this aside. There's the task. We can't move this fixture. We need to get ahead of this fixture in order to safeguard ourselves.
Yeah, you know, yesterday it was early in the morning when he started. I was like, no, man, I'm ignoring this thing. But hey, as the day progressed, I was like, man.
Starting to worry.
Yeah.
I phoned him and I was like, hey, brah, Lile, these Nigers are phoning me and they're saying we're losing 3 points. What are they talking about? And I went on Google and like, no, this can't be. We are professional. We're too professional for this.
But isn't that the same thing that happened with Sundowns? With Teboho Mokoena? With the Yellows?
Yeah, but
remember,
but it's different competition.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to.
Yeah,
it can happen. It can happen.
Yes, we're on top of this. I remember recently there was a player at Sundowns, and I think they had just played away. Ne?
Yeah, and they put him off the team very quickly.
Yes.
That was Teboho Mokoena.
No, just recently.
Yeah, it was,
there was a guy who was suspended, and he was on the team sheet. Game start, he's gone.
But how, as a manager?
They must be susceptible to human
error.
error.
But you remember this one of Sundowns? It was in the Champions League.
Yes,
game.
I remember.
Yeah, but also this is when we got to hear that even the rules had been amended.
Yes.
It's 3 yellow cards, and that's when we also got information. We got information that with CAF they work on a CMS system, and one of the things that we're going to do, we're going to put this there for you so that you see
the players
the team sheet
available.
Yes, the difference between the team sheet of CAF and the team sheet of FIFA. Because with CAF this wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have even been able to put the name of Teboho Mokoena because it gets blackened out.
So basically the AFCON qualifiers you wouldn't have been able. So Vilile was arguing with me, this is how it's working, and now. And I'm like, but I'm looking here and all the other players were suspended after 2 yellows. I'm looking at all these players and I'm like, what's going on? So at that point, you're just hoping, I'm wrong. And then as the day progressed, you knew,
I think the first thing first, with the manager, the flag goes to the whole technical group because one, my assistant coach know what's going on. Whoever is getting booked, I noted and minute what. That's when you analyze, when you code. You start saying, where did the goal come from? What minute was it? And then you are able to give context into that. So if the guys that are on the bench that are supposed to take care of that, the manager might have to take that information secondary. But somebody must take those notes. Who's got booked? Because it'll be like maybe a player that was red carded and then you include him on the squad.
Yeah, but the only saving grace or the only thing that I can think of that might have missed is because our World Cup qualifiers and our AFCON and even the AFCON tournament overlap.
Okay.
That's the only thing that I can think that could have given some
and also I think the rules also say there that the FIFA cautions also don't overlap to other tournaments. So it's specific FIFA. So I think a lot would have happened here. And also the other thing with CAF is that you are informed. They send you information like PSL does. They send you information, and also even during the match meeting, the match commissioner says that these players and these officials are suspended and not allowed. So I'm not really sure if that happens with FIFA. I've heard that an email could have been sent, but we don't have confirmation of that because no one wants to confirm anything. You know.
Who would confirm
that? I mean, but I think when it comes to this, it's just a matter of waiting and seeing at this stage because we've looked at the rules. We've looked at the rules. The rules are very clear. There's somewhere where 19.1 says, and I hear that everyone now is saying Lesotho has not protested, so we are free. I don't think so. And there's precedence when it comes to this.
Niger got docked 3 points.
They got docked 3 points in Niger. You also go to another group that we're involved in for the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Ethiopia and Botswana. Botswana got 3 points and 3 goals. after Ethiopia had fielded an ineligible player.
Yes.
And one thing to note there, Botswana had not protested. So when you look at this, there's Nigeria, there's, Nigeria against Algeria. That game had finished 1-1.
But they still qualified.
They still qualified. They had enough points.
Yeah.
Like us now. Like us now. Yeah. Bring it on, Niger. We're not afraid of you.
Take out 3 points. You must come to the calabash.
Yeah. So 2014, we're in the same group. Remember Bernard Parker? Oshaba voting. Same.
Yeah, I remember when.
Shawa, in fact, Bernard Parker with audacious diving head I've ever seen, beating Itumele Nkune there.
I thought you were talking for us, and I'm remembering the goal. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a top goal.
So there, you have Botswana benefiting. And they didn't protest, after these guys had played a defaulter.
Because if we didn't know, how would they know? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Your opponents wouldn't know because they're not looking at that.
Exactly.
How can they protest?
The moral of this whole thing is that you don't need to protest there. I know here at home it's different, and also we know football from how we are covering it here at home and how protests work here, because as a club you only get your points here if you have protested. Otherwise, if something is found, the points will just be expunged and they'll be docked from that team. So how it works here at home, it works differently there at FIFA. So in this case, and I think in the last 24 hours or 48 hours, we have all made mistakes in terms of, because also these are rules, these rules, and now you can
constantly
imagine.
changing. So like, how many rule books did we read before? We're like, but this one is last qualifiers, this one's AFCON, this one's, So
the CAF.
Let's go to the DC.
Yes,
it will go to DC, right?
This one might not even. In fact, it will not even go to a DC. This one.
So it won't. It's out of CAF's hands. It's FIFA.
Yeah, it's FIFA. Yeah, this one will not even go to a DC because it's an automatic suspension. It's an automatic suspension. You've got cards, and then that's the situation.
So we're just waiting for FIFA email now.
Yes. So it's okay.
And he finished the match.
If they say there's no protest. Okay,
I played 80 minutes. He played 80 minutes.
Lesotho can drop it. They are neighbors. Niger?
Never.
Niger?
They're looking for...
We want to come here at the Calabash and deal with them.
They're also looking... I mean, any team that is looking to be at the World Cup are going to look for anything possible to get closer to it.
100%.
And it's within their rights to do that.
Yeah. So, gents... So, this issue... Okay, let's just wait for FIFA now.
Yeah.
I'm not commenting on this anymore. I know, and also, freedom of the press is very important. And sometimes, people take things personal when we cover stories, and we will report what is there and what needs to be done. And also, our people need to be educated on the game. Lawrence there is a journalist. I'm a journalist here. Source is a football coach and also is a former player and also is an analyst. And we must tell the story as it is. So
can't give our opinion or what do you think might happen.
Exactly.
Whatever.
And also, if you feel that, maybe this is hitting at you, well, we have to tell it as it is, because now, there's this thing of trying to suppress us from telling the story as how it is in our local game, because journalism is about that. You report the truth, nothing else. Today, the truth might not be good for you. Tomorrow, it might not be good for me. But at the end of the day, you must tell the truth.
Yeah.
There's your own truth, there's my truth, but in between that, there's the real truth. So I hope you are listening to what I'm saying.
The truth is no color.
Yeah.
Now, I just want us to go quickly through our group.
Yep.
With all our challenges, I know all of us were, even yesterday, we were like, okay, please minus 3 points and 3 goals. When you look at how the group is now, and we're left with those 4 matches. I think things are looking good for us.
Yeah, it is. I was speaking to my colleague about it. No? We're focusing on the minus 3 points, right? Obvious. But we're also not focusing on the plus 3 to Lesotho.
Yes.
Plus 3 for Lesotho push Niger down to 5th place in the 6-team group. So Lesotho goes above them. And like Hugo said, before all the shenanigans unfolded, Niger needs to beat everybody on top of them to have any chance. So the pressure, the coach is under pressure, the scoreboard pressure, there's so much pressure under them. And like I thought before the Zimbabwe game, we're in trouble because I just felt that Niger smells there's a chance here and that they're gonna go and win every game. But the fact that they
there's no way they drew against Zimbabwe like that, and you saw Osimhen.
They didn't get 3 points at home to Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but I think they are yet to win at home.
So that's the thing. Like Niger have to win every single game.
That's too much pressure.
It's too much pressure.
Too much.
So I do think that obviously we're still in the driving seat here. And there's a lot of confidence. I mean, I'm sure we can name 20 of the 23 players for the next 2 squads. You know what I mean?
In Jingles' words, we don't need to beat Nigeria to qualify for the World Cup.
I think we still.
They can come here. We play a lovely Shakes Congo and draw.
But not just if we look at maybe we'll have a bias towards Bafana because we cover them, it's our country.
Yes.
But look at the reaction from the rest of the continent.
Yes.
What they're talking about Bafana.
Yes.
There's
No,
major respect.
No. And also even some of our friends on the continent, the way they talk about Bafana, you know. So I you know, guys, I don't know like you. The team that I really feared in this group with this game that was remaining away. It's Benin. Our game against Zimbabwe is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, that's the one.
And we're home every game, eh?
Yeah.
That's the game that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. So, but I just want us to go quickly through the groups. Lawrence, I think when you look at the gap, Morocco has only played 1 game away. Everyone is coming in.
Yeah, Hugo
all of them.
Hugo was speaking the same thing. He's like, Morocco, they qualify, they don't even travel outside. And he was saying that they must kick these guys out who can't play in their own stadium, and you see how quickly they'll get the stadium ready.
That's why I'm not entertaining anything from our friends on the continent. I want to benefit. Those 4 matches, even Zimbabwe.
It's Lesotho, Rwanda, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe.
Yes.
All at home.
And the game against Zimbabwe and Lesotho is supposed to be away games, but I want to benefit. So I can say, I think Morocco is home and dry.
Home and dry, yes.
For sure.
5 on 5.
Yes. 5 on 5, eh? 16, 15,
Yeah, they're away.
But I'll just give them credit. They went to play in Dar es Salaam, and they beat Tanzania away. So that one there.
But it's a squad that's also been built for a while now. Coach knows football inside out there.
Yeah, but I watched the game last night. Algeria giving Mozambique 5. And on paper, when you look at it, these teams, they're just separated by 3 points.
Yeah.
But
it shows the quality of Algeria. If they show up, they can do damage to anyone. You know what I mean?
But now against Lorenzo, this informs you about the leagues that we spoke about. The strength of the leagues where some of these players are playing and the profile of those players. So scores like that at the national team level, you start questioning in terms of the selections.
But Mozambique have a decent squad. They've been doing well in the COSAFA tournaments. The players coming from the under-20s, the under-23s, they're doing well. So I think that was a surprise result.
Guys.
But Black Stars, guys, this is not the first time. Black Stars don't have a good AFCON, then they qualify for Qatar. You know? And now I'm looking at Black Stars like, okay.
They're also cruising.
They're
also cruising. There's a 3-point difference between them and their nemesis, Comoros.
Yeah. They arch rival.
Yeah, they're arch rival. But, okay. They played against Chad, eh? And then they also played against Madagascar. And they were scoring goals. But I think it's a good boost for them, and to see Jordan Ayew with those 3 assists, especially in the second
I
game.
think his whole campaign is either goal or assist. His numbers in this campaign has been ridiculous. Three assists in the last game. I think 1 goal, 2 assists in the previous game. He scored a hat-trick in the previous. So he's the talisman at the moment. And what's interesting is also the Black Stars have been losing all these games, and the fans are saying, we're not gonna watch the Black Stars. They're breaking the stadium. But I look how full their stadium was for that game against Chad.
Yeah, but also these qualifiers, even when the seeding was done, Mali was the top-ranked team, and Mali not producing results.
It makes that group look like, hey, it was rigged. You know what I mean? Because when you look at it now, it looks like, wow, this Ghana had a really favorable draw. But it just shows that they're doing the job.
Yeah,
they are just doing
get
the
goals
job.
because at the end of the day, you're going to benefit from those goals.
Yeah.
So how much goals you score, and also it's good for confidence on players.
But we can say they qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can say
Maybe to continue the education, I'm looking at Group H, and that's where you have Namibia 4 points behind Tunisia, and Namibia got those points of Equatorial Guinea. No one had protested, but FIFA was following up on a case, and then when the points, or when they were found guilty, the points were allocated to Namibia.
But now the boy's back, so Equatorial Guinea is in there. Bring us our points back.
Yeah.
But how is it back?
Look, I mean, I didn't really follow it extensively,
Yeah.
but I just saw that FIFA cleared him, saying there was no wrongdoing.
Yeah.
But
Maybe at the time. So do you go back?
because I mean, it was a very controversial thing, because the guy just won the Golden Boot at AFCON.
Yes.
He's played over 30 something games. He's the captain.
Yes,
He's qualified them for the AFCON with his goals.
Yes.
And so when they ruled him ineligible, it was like, okay, you must bring the Golden Boot. It's chaotic, because 30 games is a long period of history in national football.
Yeah.
But now that he's back, give our points back.
Yeah. Maybe just to go past these groups, which teams do you feel that we are still left with 4 matches, are in danger of not going through to the next stage?
You're talking about the favourites now?
Yeah,
or?
it's still tight. For me, it's still tight. When you look, even where there's a 4 points difference, I mean, there's still 4 matches to be played. Sebastian de Sabre, I've always told, even some clubs there locally, when they were looking for coaches. There's a coach, you know, and I mean, this was even before he went to DRC, even before I think we even went to Pyramids, and we see the good work that is going.
West Uganda, no?
Yeah, with Uganda as well. Yeah, the good work is doing with Congo now.
Yeah.
Senegal could be in danger. In that group.
And it's a funny situation with him. Not knowing what they want, you know. They had a coach who was qualifying them with his eyes closed, and you know, going in a different direction is not always the right direction. Gambia also found that out very quickly. So Gambia was Thompson feet.
It's always said sometimes a new broom doesn't sweep clean.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But I think as we move away from the international week, we have this short, nice insight on everything that has happened in this international week, coming from newly appointed coach of SuperSport United, Andre Arendse, and also the man at this venue who was part of that team that won the maiden AFCON title back in 1996 with the former skipper, Thulani Hlatshwayo. This team, I think it reminds of you guys. You know, there were days where you'll go to Bujumbura, you come back with 3 points. You go to North Africa, Brazzaville, you come back with 3 points. I think we're back to those days where have got a fearless team.
100%. I see elements of the good old days, if you like to call it, and you just mentioned that now, with where we travel into Africa and come back with 3 points. But there's a reason for that. I see togetherness in the team. I see the will to fight for each other and for the team. I see camaraderie. I see a team that is gelling very nicely together. You can see that in the way they play. I love when the team is in possession of the ball, the movements, the patterns of play that the team is building. I also love the way that doesn't matter who plays in the back four in front of Ronwen, we are able to keep clean sheets. And that is critical for any qualifying campaign. Coaches will tell you that if you keep clean sheets, you don't lose games, and there's every truth to that. But what I do like is that we've got capable people from midfield to attackers who can score goals. Again tonight, Jaden Adams came on and he proved that he can get on the score sheet again. Lyle Foster seems to be our main guy up front who also is capable of getting on the goals. We're looking for Percy Tau to hit that form again, and I know he's coming. Those are the kinds of components that we're looking for the team to keep going. So very excited about how the results turn out. And what has helped as well, obviously results around us seem to be going our way at the moment. And when you have that going for you, you can almost start talking about having one foot at the door in terms of qualification for the World Cup. We don't want to talk about that just yet, but it certainly seems like we're heading that day. And I think when you look at a process like this, it's always nice for a team to keep their fate in their own hands. And that's what we're busy doing at the moment, and I love that about the team.
You've been following this team, coach, even your colleague Grant is part of it. What would you attribute this whole turnaround in the last 3 years to? I
mean, when you look at the team, I think it's the way Hugo Broos has built his squad of players. And I think he was very specific in his mind in terms of, remember when Hugo Broos first came in, he was seeing to be discarding the older players, if you like, for lack of a better word. But there was method in his madness. He then came back and said, you know what, I maybe need to keep 1 or 2 experienced players in the squad. He did that, but he had no hesitation in bringing in younger players. And you can see the youthful approach that he's got to the team at the moment. And these players are responding to it. But I think what the secret has been over the last 2-3 years or so for the squad is that he's keeping consistency with his selection, maybe adding 1 or 2 extra players here and there. And when you start to keep consistency with your selection, you're going to qualify for tournaments. You're going to go to tournaments and compete and do the best you can. And that's where we are at the moment with that team.
Very important results for the boys. I don't know, lie. This is one game that I feared because these guys, they've been unbeaten ever since they moved to Abidjan. They beat Nigeria there, but a polished performance from the boys.
Yeah, for sure. Even me, when they asked about the score prediction, I said 2-0, but I also said 2-1 because I know that the guys could come back even if they concede. You know, but for us to really win 2-0 under so much circumstances against Benin, who are number 2 in the group, and we knew that I knew that they were going to be physical, but the way the guys did, the way they managed the game, the way they slowed the game, and scored those goals in those crucial moments, you know, critical phases, and how we scored them, you know, I think like those are the recipe of champions.
What would you say? And I don't want to say has changed, Taisi, but this team, I think for 2 to 3 years now, they are just at another level.
For me, I think what have changed is the togetherness around the team. You know, they've been together for so long, you know, and you could see around the team that how, like now, I was seeing the foul on Teboho Mokoena, you know, when the Benin players came to try to lift him up, and when Modawi came and when Lyle came, you know, that's when you see those small moments of togetherness around the team. They are able to die for one another there on the field.
We've always wanted to qualify for the World Cup. During Brashek's time, we were coming very close, and now it looks like it is just around the corner for us.
I think you look at Bafana Bafana team right now, you look at your Opri Modiba, your Teboho Mokoena, your Ronan Williams, you know, and that's when you see continuity. That's where you see togetherness around the team, and those players were with us. Now I was with Itu, we were talking about Sash, that actually, you know, when Ronan came, how young he was, you know, and they stayed there in the team and they created that core, that Bafana. We see the Bafana Bafana now. As much as, yes, we didn't really get to the stage that they're at, but there are contributions that we've put around the team, and it's so lovely to see how the team is doing under Hugo Broos.
During the day, it was also a tough day because there was a lot going on about the issue of the 3 points and psychologically, how do you think that these players managed to, because when they were on the pitch, it looks like there was nothing affecting them.
Yeah, there was all sorts of talk about the 3 points and what transpired in the previous game. But what I liked about it is that the players were not fazed by it. And I'm guessing the players would have heard the position that they're in. Obviously, Teboho Mokoena wasn't part of the team, but they managed to put that aside and focus on the job at hand. And as players and a group of players and coaching staff and technical team and all that, when you're able to do that with your team in such an important game, in the process of your qualification, and you get a result like you did today, that speaks volumes for the focus of this particular team right now.
How important, because as technical teams, as players, you guys work hard to get the 3 points, but how important is to ensure that everyone within the team does his or her job thoroughly, so that you don't have a situation where we could have been celebrating being 5 point ahead today, but we've got that thing that we're minusing 3 points in our heads.
You know, when you're on a critical journey like this, every single person who's part of a setup, part of the process, must have accountability for their actions. That's a non-negotiable, because the journey gets so hectic and so challenging. When just one person or something slips up, it can negatively affect the team. But for me, when I look at it overall at the moment, the focus, as I said, that the team played with tonight was a plus in the midst of all the negativity around what happened in the previous game. So I was very, very happy to see that. And there has to be accountability. There has to be accountability when mistakes are made. There has to be accountability, and if we can assume that as I suppose custodians of the game, and when we're working at a high level as our Bafana national team, then there has to be accountability for actions. But nothing can take away from what happened in the game today, the positive aspect of it, the win that we bring home, the 3 points, and it just sets us up nicely on this road for qualification.
You were in the last team that qualified properly, and not as a gift like 2010, 2002. Because we were worried that is this going to affect them, but when you look at the game, actually it was the opposite.
I think they've went against the odds even at AFCON. Even in the last AFCON, that were games like we say, no, we won't come back against Morocco. You know, and the guys now, they are able to really suppress that pressure, the pressure that comes with it. You know, obviously the guys knew that if anything happens, you know, we're going to give another country an advantage. Specifically so Nigeria, as we are a rivalry with them, and they are going to try and push it. But right now, it's all up left to the officials, and then we see what's going to be the next results concerning the 2 yellow cards from Teboho Mokoena.
I'm also more interested from a player's point of view. You've worked hard to get these points. Somebody maybe who didn't really check what are the facts saying. How devastating was it for the players to be going through this?
Yeah, for sure. I think every player and everyone, like we as a country, we need to take responsibility of that. You know, there must be someone who needs to take a responsibility of that, because also as a player, you should know that, okay, I got this 2 yellow card, I got this yellow card. When I get another one, I'm going to be suspended. You know, and also when we look at the team sheet and everything, the reports after the game, it should say that who and who got a yellow card, and for next camps and everything, we should be able to see those things.
Well, we're back. Okay, so be licensed now, eh? Mm-hmm. And you can hear even the way he speaks, eh? Yeah. That, and I think that's a very good one, especially as he goes back to this big task, and it is a huge task for him of saving SuperSport United. But I think he's experienced enough, and he's got a team, and I think some of the things I've been hearing that SuperSport United, it was not really about just results. Maybe it was how they also need to quickly work around the dressing room.
Yeah, with the coach that has been around, but taking a new role, it gives players more confidence for reselection. Those who are excluded now can be included, because a coach will always come around you and then put his arm and say, I know you're frustrated, you haven't been playing, and I know how you feel. As a player myself, show me what you have and show me what you can do. Let's try and save the team together, and also you save yourself this job that you have. So if you do perform, this puts you in a better position. This also puts me as a better position as a new manager for you. So are you willing to work with me? This is the first thing that coaches have to go into their players and get a buy-in in terms of working for the coach and the coach working for their players.
Yeah, you just said he's fresh from a KFB license.
Yes.
What would he have gained? Maybe that he can just use, maybe just over the first 2-3 games, which could be crucial in what?
Planning.
Okay.
Coaching, when we do coaching courses, the first thing that you have to make sure that you do well on how you plan. Strategies that you're going to use. Formation, are they informing within what you have at your disposal? The type of players that you have would inform you in terms of how you're going to play, how you're going to attack, how you're going to defend. So they will teach you that. When we do courses, they will always make us pick topics. So our topics would be maybe, Bravi, you are working on defense and you are working on counter-attack. So in that, while you are coaching, you are looking at the profile of players that you have. So then, am I going to be a counter-attack coach? Why? It's informed by the speed that I have. Am I going to be a low block team? Yes. Why? Because I don't have enough firepower to attack the teams, but I've got a solid defensive line. So those topics help coaches to actually have a good picture in terms of how they need to plan within the players that they have.
He was when Caetano got sacked, he also took over.
Oh, he also took over.
We had a couple of presses with him. Sipho Mbule was going AWOL.
And I know that, Lawrence, you enjoy Coach Andre Arenza's presses.
And he gives us good top. He's a lovely guy, and he speaks, straight to the point as well.
You also want to see him growing in this coaching space.
But they're in survival mode. And that buy-in you're talking about is very important. You're going to the dressing room, guys. Yeah. We need to survive.
Yeah, but it's still
also... Make or break in terms of his career and also be given now the role.
But there, they've got 2 games in hand, and in the PSL, you win 2 matches.
You top 8 again.
Yeah. But it's not easy. It's the winning that is difficult when you're down there. I want us to move to the AFCON U17. Our team, Amajimbos, left this week. But I want to move into, and you are dealing with youngsters in your academy. Your understanding of the MRI scan, because a lot of people have been questioning it. For instance, I think the Sekafa player of the tournament, he passed. I'm saying to you, he's the Sekafa player of the tournament in the under-17. I don't know if maybe in the Sekafa they have different MRI scans that they are doing there. He passed it, but now for this one, he's failed to go to this AFCON under-17.
I will appreciate the topic where you bring a doctor, because on my understanding, growth spurts are not the same. There's early developers, there's late developers. There's some people that have strong genes taken from their families. And it might come out that it might fail that, but originally that's their age. So we don't know, since in this business, players are trying to enhance their careers, because this is an opportunity that can change your life. The scouting involved here, you can go overseas from this tournament, because there's a lot of scouts that are going to be there. Obviously, if some of them think that they fit the scale, which is also for the tournament, it's good to bring such technology. But again, it's a plus and a minus, because what if genetically the scan reads me wrong?
Yes.
So what else would I have to prove?
Yes. And I'm glad you're proving that. You're coming with that, because people, when the results of the MRI scan come back, conclude that this player is over age.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, eh?
There has been cases where, we all across Africa, especially West Africa, where it's quite rife. People have stated, I think it was Osas who was telling that one brother failed the test and the other brother passed, and they're twins.
They're twins, imagine.
So it's I don't know the technical aspects of what decides whether a player is over age, but I know it's something to do with bone structure, bone marrow or something like that.
We did it in Turkey, actually. Their medical state is not the same like ours.
Okay.
Yeah, they tap you, feel you, bones. No.
Yeah, no.
In Turkey, when we were there were 7 doctors. for 7 different things. So it took me 1.5 hours to do my medicals.
Shoo.
Is it,
Where
so
you
part of the
live-
medical is
Yes.
your age? Is okay.
So that day is training. You go from from that cubicle, the doctor checks you. You come to this one, you go right around, then they clear you. Not one doctor check, no, guys, no.
On that note, when we come back, Lawrence, now let's look at Amajimbos' chances. We play our first game this week against Egypt. I don't want to say much because I saw Egypt, they played against Tanzania twice, they played against Liberia. We have not played anyone this year. And I was looking even the composition of their squad. I see even Koscielny has been left behind. I think there's the issue around SAFA cutting budgets. And
There's another player that I saw missing that was in the COSAFA. It was the left-footed centre-back that was at Virginia, British Virginia Academy.
the British Academy, the boy who's been signed now here at Kaizer Chiefs, I think Mzumela.
Yeah, I didn't see his name, which I was surprised because he was one of the
Yes,
guys that really stood out.
and this is what they are saying, that SAFA, I think due to financial issues, is sticking to what CAF is paying for. 21 players and 7 staff members. I think even they've got a skeleton technical team there, even in terms of support staff. A team manager could even be doubling up three positions as well.
It's not good look because I saw your post earlier. The EFA is sending a delegation of 17 backroom staff or something.
14 backroom staff.
14
That's 7 more.
That's more than our national, the senior
Yeah.
national team.
So they pay for the 7 more, and you look at the profiling of those people who are there, essential that they are there, and they've got 26 players, because now after COVID, a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
21 players is not enough. You know, so
Especially for a tournament.
exactly,
Where you have to prioritize,
exactly.
because players are going to be fatigued, and players you're going to have to recycle them in terms of their tactics.
Yeah, periodization is so important in that. I remember when the draw was made, it was Egypt. We have Egypt.
Yes.
Who's the other two? I just know it's Giants.
Yes.
Under 20s just as well have a very difficult group. But look, I mean, I think there's a very talented group. We saw them, they were very unlucky in the COSAFA. And I think with divine intervention of the expansion of the tournament, they deservedly are there. Because I remember some of the media across the continent that were watching the COSAFA was saying, this team deserves to be there. And I think it's a good platform. I'm very excited to see players like Neo and Emil, Salwan Stevens, it's at Sundowns. These guys are all thoroughly scouted from their respective teams at top academies. And it's a really good chance to prove themselves. I think we do well at this level because technically we're up
Correct.
there with the
Correct.
best in the continent. So
True. I agree.
it'll be a good test against some top teams in Africa.
No, most definitely. The process of qualifying is not difficult. Yes, I did qualify with the previous team, and it did not happen. And now I have another opportunity with these boys, the talented team that we're having. And more than anything, we are hoping to go to the World Cup. Since you just said it, number 1, number 2 in the stream of in the group will go through. So we stand a good chance of really going through if we can apply ourselves better. And it is the ultimate. We want to see ourselves in the World Cup.
You also don't have a long time. I'm sure you've got a good analyst as well. You've started preparing for the tournament itself. I think your first game is against Egypt, eh?
Of course, yes. The first game is against Egypt. We had a little bit of, we are having a little bit of videos from them. We've seen a little bit of their games. Other teams will dig deep when we get to the other side. At the moment, we take one game at a time. Egypt, we have seen them. We are busy with Egypt, so we really feel strong about it. We think we stand a good chance, and let's see how it goes.
This is a project that you've been with for 2 years now. How is it assisting you?
Now look, I think big up to the TDS also program that was sponsored by FIFA to give us this time where we started with them when they were 14, 15, 16 now. and it has helped us. We have a bigger pool of players. We know where there is a crisis, where to go and get a player for that position where maybe we are lacking. It has helped us. We have data. We can confirm that South Africa has the talent based on what we have seen.
Yeah, but I also think that this has to be the easiest AFCON Under-17 to qualify the World Cup for, because for the first time, FIFA, we're going to Qatar, there's 48 teams, and I don't think we've ever, when I say you must finish in the top two, and I think the four, because there's 10 teams, there's 10 teams that are qualifying.
And I think 19 teams in the AFCON. How many teams in the AFCON?
Yes. So AFCON, this is a Group D, ne? So they've got 4 groups.
4 groups.
Yeah, and usually, remember, they just had less than that.
Yeah.
So now, when you really look at it, no.
So FIFA has made the bachelors pass 50% now.
Yeah. and that's how we qualified, because now even COSAFA contributed 3 teams.
Yeah.
But
Now we need to beat
but I saw that boy from Chiefs who's playing in Sweden now, Steve Mendes. Stevie G. Is not in the team. Maybe it's got to do with release of players. I don't know.
But potentially, because there was very positive progress report on him, speaking to his representatives and stuff. Said he's really adapted well there, but that could be the financial constraints you're also talking about.
And one of the things, and I have been saying this, Emil Vetboy has not just been playing PSL football for nothing. He goes there because now these teams that are really looking for him, they will be scouting professional football.
But it's a platform. It's a platform for him to show, that the hype is warranted, you know what I mean? So to see him against, if you look at the under-17s of Egypt, I saw them, the size of those boys compared to our guys. We have a couple of big boys. I think the profiling has been much better this time around. Previous times you go with all these technically gifted, but I think the profiling is good now. But Emil,
no, but I trust this team. This team has been together for 2 years now.
You spoke about the lack of games, but when they were under 15, this group, they played a good couple of overseas tournaments. Also played these.
I think the challenges have just been this year. Their challenges.
Previously they were.
Previously they were good, but I think the FIFA TDS funding technical development scheme has really helped them in terms of preparing to be thorough. So I hope
there's no learning of names there. There's no learning of names in this camp. They know each other well.
No. Already an under-17 team that has got at least one player who's playing professional football. No. On that note, I also went to watch Amajita against Botswana, but we'll touch on this next time. I see, what would be the advantages of hosting AFCON Under-20? Because Cote d'Ivoire has withdrawn. As someone, because I remember first time I saw you, it was not even under-23, I think it was under-20, Yeah. You, Jeffrey Ntuka, Boy Mosia, Kifle Remy. I will not tell you what we got up into with them when we were sleeping at night. There by Milpark Hotel there. Yeah. But what would be the advantages of them? Especially, under-20 is tougher, because only the top 4 qualifies. What would be the advantages of hosting it?
Home advantage.
If we were to host it.
Home advantage. Home advantage, you know the landscape, you know your ways around, and also the weather plays a big role into this. So there's just so many things and so many dynamics that are involved into you hosting, which is familiar environment, which is there's no struggle. You have close contacts, and also you know your family members are going to be up here and then to give you that moral support. So for me, it's always good. It's like playing at home, where also the pressure of it, you have to win at home, and you need to make sure that you please the supporters also.
Lawrence, from a journalistic point of view, just a quick one here. And we always say Morocco is being favored, Morocco is hosting everything. But people at CAF stopped us from saying this and say, no, Morocco is the only one that is bidding. And I know that we were offered to host either under-17 or under-20 for the next 3 years. Before even one of those tournaments went to Cote d'Ivoire.
Bidding is not just about putting an email in or saying, hey, I want to do it. It's about showing a plan, showing your financial capabilities of hosting an event.
Especially the government guarantees.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously having the infrastructure to pull it off. And Morocco have shown that they can do it with their eyes closed now. So what it was like when you're selling willing buyer, willing seller, willing hoster, you know,
But
nobody's putting up their hands.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I'm saying?
Africa sees South Africa hosting, or even now during the International Week, hosting everyone. What is difficult from South Africa hosting an under-20 tournament?
I don't think there's going to be anything difficult about it because, I mean, it's not like we have to go on a thing, we must build roads, we must build stadium.
Infrastructure.
Everything is there, you know. We have Dobsonville, that's our no top flight team is there. We've got enough stadia to even just pull it off in one province.
Maybe
You know,
finances?
Yeah, you could play.
it might be, but
Is
also,
that the reason why Cote d'Ivoire pulled out?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
both, yeah.
But the one thing that I am concerned about is that, like, I think Morocco could have pulled, if let's say Morocco had hosted under 20,
Yeah,
I think they'll pull better attendance and interest
Yeah.
than South Africa.
than South Africa.
Look, this under 20 team is very exciting.
Yes.
So we would pull crowds for them.
Yeah.
Fundo Vilakazi, Letlaku, Ashin, Faiz, Pili. There's a lot of quality in the
I
team.
watched them yesterday.
And they won
I'm
fire.
like,
And there's a lot of players that's not even there. You know? The guy who skippered us to the AFCON, Utata, was not there.
yes. Hey, he played yesterday. I saw him yesterday. Ooh, Utata.
I'm saying it was the first game he wasn't.
Yeah, he was not there the first game.
Amato played with
Yeah.
Kekana, who's also top quality.
Has he
player.
started training with the senior team at City?
Yes. He was signed as obviously as somebody that's, because I mean they have Madalas there in Mokocho.
Yeah.
Viewed as one for the future, but he's a top player.
He's a top player.
But at the back as well, we're also solid. Kiwani, professional player. Mbokazi is now professional.
Yeah, that under 20 is something else. Yeah, it's
Mbokazi,
special.
guys. I saw him with this under-20. The aggression.
He won't last long in this league.
You know what?
Soon he's
You
gonna
know what?
leave.
On that note,
Gonna leave.
let's hear from him. Let's hear from him on what he says about this tournament and what he wants to get out of this tournament. Kubaleka kanjani ukuthi uye ku-AFCON because phela manje sowudlala kakhulu eqenjini lakho kubuya ne-Champions League ngala, but kubaleka kanjani ukuthi uqhubeke namajitani ni-achieve igoli yenu yokuya ku-World Cup?
Yeah, kubalulekile kakhulu ngoba kwamina kuyangisiza for i-profile yami and futhi yabo ne-team kuyayisiza ukuthi bekhiphe iplayer lihambe lodlala AFCON akunomba okhishiwe kodwa lo abambonile yini osiza ukuthi hayi cha hambe osimela ngendlela angasimela ngasize futhi yabo nami kuyangijabulisa lokho ukuthi ngiphume ngihambe ngiyodlala ngaphandle yabo national team kuyangikhulisa nami for experience ye-COSAF under 20 nanga first team ngijabule kakhulu.
Into eyanginikeza ithemba ukuthi hayi bazakukhulula.
Ya bazongikhulula bona. Ayikho indaba. Abangangitsheli kodwa ngiyabona ukuthi abazongikhulula maningi ama-player. Angimina phela ngede ngiplayer engingavimba bosikhulula nje sihambe siyozama sonke.
Uyibonile i-draw. What do you think of the draw for i-COSAF?
Ya ngibonile yona inzinyana kodwa awathina sabi lutho singamelana nayo ngoba yini siqhamuka nayo sizokhona ukuyimela lapha ngoba sifuna ukugcina sifinyele lapha esifuna ukuya khona sonke.
Uzibona kuphi nje in the next 2-3 years?
Umcabango yami nje ucabanga ukuthi mangathola mhlawumbe amanye amathuba ngakhona ukuthi ngihambe la ngifuna ukuya khona mhlawumbe overseas ngoba vele sidlalela ukuthi angeke dlalela ukuthi sidlala la eSouth Africa konke umuntu udlala ukudlula ebona ngaphambili.
Mhlawumbe ngeke ubuye nase-Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah. Unalokho nathi
Ne? Because there is that possibility. And lastly, which position are you comfortable with? Because kuthiwa uyadlala left centre back, uyadlala nako left back.
Angirazi kuyi-center back iyona engithandayo futhi iyona akhona ukudlalela kuyo kahle.
And uma ukhompyuthana nama-striker fana no-Ribeiro and then uphinde ubuye uze la, I'm sure enye into ekulungiselela kakhulu for tournament efana ne-AFCON.
Yeah, ukudlala against Ribeiro kungisize kakhulu ngempela ngoba experience yabo ne-AFCON yabona ukuthi ayikho ezingeni elilinganayo isezingeni elikhulu yorepel mase ngifika ngoba lolu ukuthi ngikhona ukunqanda abanye abantu ngoba sengiyazi ukuthi labantu abakhulile bama kanje shuthi labancane abekho kuleli yazinga sibalele izinga lekumele ngikhona ukuthi nabo ngilisane nabo ngendlela right.
Yamos, and I know the release of players is going to be an issue. He says the club must release him because he wants to go overseas. The confidence of this boy.
He wants to be scouted.
Yeah.
I think when you're given the platform, I'm so happy for him that things are panning out the way they are. Just introduced to the scene. Not so long ago, he was with the DDC, first team, national team. So his roadmap is looking clean, man.
Even before that engine, he was in the engine knockout.
So look at it in that space, and also him wanting to go overseas. It's a benefit for the club.
But they want to win a Champions League.
No.
They want to win a Nedbank Cup.
But Lawrence, we were here, and I spoke to one of the officials at this recent game, and he said, "No, the boy understands the vision." And I think if you want to see Orlando Pirates, look at Lyle Foster, look at Marshall Munetsi. Orlando Pirates understands the pathways.
They take pride in getting those deals.
Exactly. And they understand the importance of this boy going there now. But I think this is the kind of mentality we've always been talking about this thing, Lawrence, that the boys must dream beyond the PSL.
Yeah, like Chandra. And Chandra is a beautiful example of showing what's possible. I think his trajectory now, getting into the Club Brugge first team, is really going to inspire his generation specifically. And if we add him number 10 AFCON there.
You only have 5 minutes to look forward to the CAF Champions League. We'll just go through it quickly. Maybe let's start with Mamelodi Sundowns. I think that's the first game against Esperance, and Sundowns finished second, and they're starting at home. The dynamics of controlling starting at home.
Same team.
Cardoso
same
against
team,
his former team.
Yeah, the same team with the coach that knocked them out last season. So it's a very interesting story. The guy really impressed us when we first saw him last year. And we knew, hey, even though they're not doing well, there's a chance for them. But there's a different Esperance. They're stronger. They might have changed their coach, but they've got a really good team. So I can't say who's favourites for this one, honestly. But Sundowns will definitely be hungry, and they're going to want to, stamp their authority in the first league. And I think it's very important that they do. They can't walk to Tunisia with a 0-0. You can't be limping with a 0-0. They need to do the business at home.
Prediction, Baba. Prediction.
Yeah. I think Sundowns walk away with a 2-0 win at home because they have to. They have to. They can't go to Tunisia with a draw. So I think it's gonna be 2-0 for them.
And then Pirates MC Alger.
Yes. An interesting one. In the current form that Orlando Pirates has been on, I think they're gonna fashion a win. Even though it won't.
Starting away.
Away for me is always easier. Why I would say it's always easier because you as a home team are under pressure to win. So that's why I'm saying it's easier. You are always under pressure when you are playing at home because you need to win to please the supporters that you have. So for me, I look at Pirates having a tight win, which is 1-0, because they're not gonna go all out, even though the team will come at them. So that will allow them to be, the team will allow themselves to be exploited.
The group stage, they've proven they can play away.
But that MC Alger team, stingy with goals, very difficult to score.
That's why I'm saying 1-0.
I enjoy playing against North African teams because Tinasia Pensela, and we know how to open them. We've done it in Cairo. But one exciting game, I'm looking forward to this one. Zamalek against Stellies. And Stellies, I know that people are looking at their results against RS Berkane, but I think they can do something special here.
Something special is needed indeed. Zamalek. Zamalek, they should not be in this competition. It's unfair.
It's unfair.
Yeah, they're very good. But I mean, if Stellenbosch can go toe to toe with Mamelodi Sundowns, they can go toe to toe with a team like Zamalek, if you know what I'm saying. And I think they're gonna be thriving off this type of challenge because that's what they wanted. And Coach Steve Parker is definitely going to be working beyond the clock to try and get the result. Yeah.
So you're one of those people who are saying, no, Champions League, we must move to 3 teams.
No, for
from
sure.
South Africa and Egypt.
Yeah,
For sure.
It also grows our league also and give it a good standard.
Exposure
Because, yeah.
and interest. Imagine having those 3 top Egyptian teams, 3 top South African teams.
Yeah.
It tells you. It sets the base that CAF at CAF you got three top teams in your country, 3 top teams in your country. That also expanding the pool of players that you select for the national team.
Yes.
On that note, thanks so much, Jens. Lawrence, thanks for coming through.
Sure.
We're even with the legend, Shavariko. Shavareland.
Sitting that behind me.
Yeah. You know that you've got 2010 because we're talking World Cup qualifiers, but it's been good. African Football Connect episode 4. Jumbo Africa.
Jumbo Africa.
Jumbo Africa.